There was a British voice that did it, a man, British voice. And he said, we want to do a Kiwi female version of The Voice. And so they flew me down to Dunedin, and for a day I did, here's a house, here's a door, windows, 1, 2, 3, 4, ready to knock, turn the lock, play school, diddle diddle diddle. So for a whole day I just did their voiceover. And then they chose me and I got the part, and so I did it, and it was my voice for another 10 years. And then I went down to Dunedin to work in the theatre, and the same producer said, oh, do you want to do some on-screen stuff? Because when people are sick, we need people to jump in and to do it really quickly. It's good to have actors because they can learn the lines really quickly. And that was it. So someone was sick, they'd ring me up and say, quickly come down to the studios. And I would look over, I'd have to learn the 25-minute script in 5 minutes. And then you would just get on and do it. And you used to run between the storybook thing, the story chair, to the weather, to the whatever else, the sing-song thing. So it was just mad. There were no edits. Edits cost money. So you ran from each part of the set to the other, and the camera just, it was mad. So if you forgot your lines, it was just like, get out of it. You just got to get yourself out of it and move on. And I remember being dragged up to the control room once, and they said, just have a look at this, Theresa. And there was me. I can sing a rainbow singing with a 2-shot, and then it's a 1-shot to Russell Smith, and I'm just going off the side going, oh my God, this is so boring. And then I come back and they go, no, you can't do that. I came into something I didn't know what I was coming into, and all these people had worked together, all these Grant Major, DOP, can't remember, his name will come to me. Alison McLean, Trevor Haysom. It was all this amazing, Melanie Reid was on, she was the makeup artist. It was just this mad group of people that had been together for a long, done quite a lot of stuff together, and I just arrived going, hi, this little actress from nowhere, and I didn't quite understand again. I didn't really understand. I mean, Alison knew exactly what she wanted, and she wasn't interested in bringing you into that. She just knew what she wanted, and so I just went with that, and it was an amazing experience. And the Headless Chickens doing the music was just, it was just one of those little things that just everything just came together. And it was, I remember going to see it but before a Cronenberg movie. It was at a film festival. It was the short before it, and I saw it at the Embassy with a packed house, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Didn't even feel like it was me, but it was just like this incredible little fairy tale of weirdness, and it was quite special. Now, it's always been a special, and the music and the shooting of it, Stuart Dryborough, DOP, fantastic DOP. I arrived there, I was only on for 2 weeks, and somebody else had, a friend of mine had actually turned the part down. So they rang me and they said, oh, would you take over the part? This is for a 2-week part. And I was like, oh, fine, yeah, whatever. I'd auditioned so many times, and they said, no, you're not right, you're not tall enough, you're not small enough, you're not short enough, you're not blonde enough, blah, 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 blah. So I went along and I read the part and I thought, no, I like it, it's a really cool, and she had an edge to her. And I went along, did it, and after the first week they said, well, do you want to come back forever? And I was like, yeah, cool, yeah, definitely. And that was Mark Beasley, he was the director. And I just loved it. I loved working with the people. Tim Balm was my brother, Andrew Binns was my mate, and Craig Parker was in there as well. It was just I just instantly went, yeah, this is cool. The character was sassy. She got all the best lines. The writers loved her. And because I could deliver them, they loved that. So if they love you, they write for you, and they looked after me so well. James Griffin, Rachel, Gavin, all of them, they looked after me. So I mean, the character was very much their creation, but then I put my little bit of extra Theresa-ness in there, and I loved it. I loved her. I was Joel Tobeck's love interest, and he was at that stage as very young, skinny little boy. I remember having a bed scene with him, and he was like, oh, Theresa, I'm really embarrassed. So I'm going, don't worry, Joel, it's cool, it's us, it's okay, we can do it. And he was like, he was at least 5 years younger than me at that stage. That was a big gap. But I loved it. I loved Andy Anderson, he was fantastic. And it was actually quite an amazing story for New Zealand at that stage, to do a gambling. I mean, casinos were so unheard of really in New Zealand. We didn't really have a great gambling, apart from races and whatnot, the TAB. But those sort of casinos were not commonplace. So it was quite an unusual thing to set a drama around. And Alona Rogers was amazing, and Lani and May were incredible. It was a really good, I loved it. And rewatching it is very funny. And the helicopter, had that sort of outdoorsy sort of thing with Andy Anderson out there and the helicopter and being somewhere north of Auckland, you know, that weird sort of nowhereville. I didn't think I was great in that. I think the story was lovely. Yeah, I was always unhappy with how I did it. You know, when you do something and you're not happy with what you did, and I was never happy with what I did in it. But I don't know, I just never felt like I really cracked it. And I think it was the first big film I'd done, and I work in it, I realised in the last production I've just done, this theatre thing, I realised I work in a very kinesthetic way. I like to get the script, I like to get the moves, I like to get where I am, and then it sort of just settles in, and then I start layering. Whereas I think for a film actress, you've got to have all of that way before the camera rolls. So I think I was still very much in another land. I was in, yeah, it wasn't quite, I wasn't as good as I could be, you know, and that's really annoying when you feel that you haven't done your best work. I was outside painting the fence. I think I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and Tony Holden was driving past, and somebody just dropped out of the show. And he said, "Theresa, would you like to do a dancing show?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I'd never been on, no one knew what it was. And anyway, then my agent rang me later on saying, "Look, they've asked you if you want to do this like ballroom dancing show. I've got no idea what it is, but you know, are you interested?" And I went, "Oh yeah, tell me more about it." "Yeah, why not?" And I said, "Oh yeah, well it starts next week. You have to, you know, everyone else has been, you know, preparing for the last 8 weeks, getting them to their bodies, you know, but you've got to go." And I went, "Oh yeah, why not? Great idea." And that was possibly the craziest, apart from the show I'm doing at the moment, that was one of the craziest things I've ever done in my life. I have never been so tired. I've never been so run down, but I've never been so elevated and in love with what I'm doing. I could have just kept doing that every week. If it wasn't a competition, I could have just kept doing it. It was so much fun. Getting to dance with a 30-piece orchestra. In that, it was like just going back to the 1930s and being in those old ballrooms and clubs, and I just loved it. And it was hard, something I couldn't do, something I'd never done. You had to really work hard. It didn't worry me at all standing up there. Some people can't cope. You can see the ones that can't cope though. You know, I love criticism. I love constructive criticism that you can take. And I mean, I've been directed all my life, so it was just another point of direction, really. Except you're in front of the whole nation. Slightly exposing. And the fact also you couldn't breathe after you just danced, and then you actually couldn't breathe. So really, it was just really about getting your breath. I was always thinking about, don't look like you're about to die. That's really embarrassing. Just get it together and smile. And and I actually didn't mind. I honestly, yeah, I didn't mind. Oh, she's so bad, and she's so thin in what she thinks about. You know, it's all basically money, money, money. She's a North Shore, you know, she wants money, she only wears white and gold, which I love. I would never wear white and I'd never wear gold. So it's, for me, and I wear a blonde wig. So for me, it's fantastic. She does the most out. She's always brassing her daughter off. And I mean, it's funny now, you've moved from being the young person to the mother, to the older mother, which is it's a hard transition, but it's a necessary one. When you're nearly 50, you've got to do it. No, I've loved it. Again, I just love to do more. I just love to extend it. You always want more scenes, more. I just want more.